Hey everyone, this is your old friend Sonic the Hedgehog, and welcome to another special episode of Sonic Characters Read Sonic Fanfiction. Last year, I read a fanfic requested by the original fanfic writer. The fanfic was called The Death of Sonic.exe. Now, I'm here again to read the sequel, and it's called The Death of Sonic.exe Final Chapter, Final Fight, and the description is as follows. I've updated a few things, and yes, I added people like Markiplier, Luigi Kid, PewDiePie, and the guy from Some Ordinary Gamers on here, just because they're awesome, and that they played Sonic.exe, and I sure hope that they'd read this someday. That'd be awesome. Smiley face. Well, I actually wouldn't appreciate when you put real people in any fictional franchise's fanfics. I mean, I was already scarred when I'd heard of Chuck Norris being in Sonic and the Great War. Now you have a whole lot of Let's Players in this fanfic? This is not gonna be pretty. After Sonic.exe's defeat a couple months ago, Sonic and friends no longer had seen or heard from this fake demon, known as Sonic.exe, that was scarring people for life. But truth be told, he wasn't really as dead as we thought. He now lives in the Netherrealm, also called Hell, to plan his revenge on the ninja, known as Steve. After his last encounter, he knew that he was not like any other people. He wanted his soul more than anything. He had the perfect plan to lure him into the Netherrealm. Only this time, he knows that he will get his soul at no cost. First of all, that was a really long sentence. Second, this guy must be obsessed with Mortal Kombat. In the first story, he was fighting him in that style, and now he lives in the location of the Mortal Kombat games? I think your obsession's taken over you, buddy. The next day, Steve decided to pay Sonic and friends a visit. And just before he knocked on the door, Tails came running after him in terror. Whoa, Tails! What's the problem? Steve asked Tails. You need to see this. It's that demon Sonic again. Steve was shocked and ran inside and saw a letter written in blood. It read, "Hello, mortal. If you read this, I'm still alive, and I now live in your hell. And I really want your soul, but I can't take it unless you come to me, where we'll have a little rematch of the challenge you did, but this time, I'll ensure that I'll be the winner. The key to this realm is on the letter. I'll be waiting." Ha! Steve clenched his hands and fists of rage. "Damn you, faker! You'll pay for this," Steve said as he left. "Where are you going?" Tails asked Steve. "I'm gonna take care of this problem once and for all," Steve said as he headed back to his home. Tails was worried about Steve as he bowed his head and prayed. "Please be safe, Steve." Once he arrived, he then went to his closet. He never told Sonic and his friends about his secret. He was once Lin K and became one of the ninjas of Ice and Cold, and then took the key to enter the Netherrealm. Once the portal was revealed, he took one last item before going, a bottle of holy water, because Steve was a Christian, and so he was off to the Netherrealm. Well, just because you're Christian doesn't automatically mean you have to bring holy water. What? Are you going to spray holy water on the enemy? Because that would make sense. As he continued his trek in the Netherrealm, he could feel Sonic.exe's presence. Time and time again while he trekked, he saw bodies dangled around him. One was a boy named Kyle, impaled by spears from above. The other was Tom, who appeared to hang himself. Then was Chris. His body dangled in a stalactite, and his head on top of it. And then the body of a woman who, as well as Tom, hung herself along with the body of a man in a police outfit with his hands tied together and dangled. Steve shook his head in disbelief to see what Sonic.exe had done to these innocent people. Then he looked at 3 signs, each stating who was next to kill. Those 4 people were Markiplier, PewDiePie, Renee, aka Luigi Kid, and Mutahar. Steve clenched his fists of rage and yelled, "Sonic.exe, when I'm done with you, you'll never kill another innocent person again!" Sonic.exe's laughter was heard, as he was not intimidated. Moments later, he then went to an empty tomb where only blue flames were lit. As soon as he entered, the door closed and Sonic.exe appeared. "You've got one hell of a nerve to show your face again, faker. I thought Scorpion killed you," Steve said. "He did, but I revived myself. After all, I am part demon," he said. "Now I planned my revenge on you, mortal. Only this time, I'm a lot stronger this time, and your tactics will not work this time." He got ready to fight, and so did Steve. "I don't need my own tactics to defeat you. I can surely kick your ass without taunting you," Steve said while Sonic.exe laughed. "Well, we'll see about that. Now get ready for round 2. First of all, that's actually really scary to have actual humans be killed by this character, and not just traumatized in fear. But secondly, that was a really long sentence there. I couldn't stop myself because there was no period. This is a clear example, even to me, of a sentence that went on for way too long. Sonic.exe ran to Steve, but was stopped by him hitting him with a combo of 6 hits. He then got back on his feet and lunged at him and tried to trip Steve, but Steve jumped thanks to his great reflexes, and then froze him, and then did the 6-hit combo again. Sonic.exe was getting angry and furious. He wanted Steve's soul no matter what, but he knew that this wasn't going to be an easy task, so he flew fast at him. But again, Steve jumped, and Sonic.exe ran towards him, but Steve did the ground freeze. Sonic.exe slipped, and Steve did a roundhouse kick on him. Sonic.exe was tired of all this. He grew angry, and his rage began to grow. Then Steve got the bottle of holy water, and Sonic.exe began laughing. What are you gonna do with that? Get it in my eyes? Steve chuckled again, and then sprayed Sonic.exe, and he began hissing. The power of Christ compels you, Steve said in determination, as Sonic.exe hissed more and more. Then Steve stopped and said, "Give up yet, faker? 'Cause I'm just getting warmed up." Sonic.exe got back up and said, "I will not give up." And the fight raged on for a few more minutes. So you did use the holy water to spray onto the evil guy, but still, I can see that paragraphs are only single sentences, and they are extremely long. After the fight continued, Steve never showed any mercy as Sonic.exe's rage continued to grow. Sonic.exe's blood was on the floor, as well as some parts of his skin, and his body had some scars and cuts. He was tired of him getting the best of Sonic.exe, but he was a lot quicker than he imagined. He then had the perfect plan to slow him down. He lunged at him and tried to bite him, like those pink demons from Doom. But Steve was quick and froze him again. Only this time, he gave Sonic.exe a pulverizing, catastrophic, and deadly 50-hit ultra combo. Sonic.exe was weak and was feeling dizzy, and then got down on his knees, the sign that he is finished. So, you come to your senses and gave up? I told you can't win. The holy water made you weak, and for that, I have won again, Steve said as he picked up the weak Sonic.exe up to his feet and continued feeling dizzy. How can this be? How can I lose to this mortal? Sonic.exe yelled as he kept getting dizzy. That's because I'm not just a mere mortal. I am Lin Kuei, Steve yelled as he walked close to the weak Sonic.exe. Sonic.exe began to fear. What are you gonna do to me? Sonic.exe fiercely asked. It's time to do what I didn't do a long time ago, to finally kill you! He then did an uppercut on him. As he was in the air, he froze the ground into a sharp icicle, and then fell, and was impaled by the icicle. Sonic.exe screamed in pain as he saw a lot of blood coming out. Steve then grabbed his neck and said while Sonic.exe gagged for air, "For my friends, for Mobius, for everyone you scarred!" Steve then screamed as he ripped off Sonic.exe's head to totally finish him off. Steve's scream echoed the temple as Sonic.exe's blood poured out of both his stomach and neck, and blood dripped out of the head as the body twitched a few more times and then stopped. After all that, he poured some holy water to make sure that he would never return again. The fight was over. Sonic.exe was once and for all dead, and Steve raised the head of his enemy and had won. Meanwhile, back on Earth, a suckered-in gamer named Renee, aka Luigi Kid, was playing and recording on the internet of Sonic.exe on the Tails level. Long before he was about to meet Sonic.exe, static began. Renee was shocked and knew something bad was about to happen. But no, it was Steve. What the hell's going on, guys? Renee asked the camera as Steve was about to say an important message. Attention, people who have this game. The Sonic you see in this game you're playing is now dead. Steve then picked up the ripped-off head of Sonic.exe, and Renee and all the other gamers were pretty scared and shocked and then showed the rest of the body. Oh my god, Renee yelled. This game will now be deleted, as well as the story that follows this game. None of you will remember this entire game again, and none of you will ever get this game again. As of now, this nightmarish game is now over, Steve said as he took his mask off. And one more thing before I end this, and the game and story gets permanently deleted. For all you suckered-in gamers, I hope that this will learn your lesson. Never play a game like this no more. It's not only ruining Sonic and Friends' image, but it ruins you too. And for that, I hope you don't get suckered in again. And for that, I'll leave you goodbye, and say goodbye to this accursed game forever, Steve said as the camera was turned off. Then the game that Renee played was gone. Well, my dedicated bros, looks like the video's over, Renee said with a shock in his face. Well, these players had wanted to play the game because they were curious. They had a lot of fun playing it. Sure, the context is horrible, but I have never heard of other franchises having their reputations ruined by a creepypasta single-handedly. Then, back in Mobius, Sonic and his friends were hoping that Steve was alright. Then the portal came. They hoped that he would come out, and he did, with the head of Sonic.exe in his hand. Most of the gang was shocked to see the outcome, as some ran away and some hid, all except for Sonic, Knuckles, and Shadow. They knew that was gonna happen. Wow, you killed him? Knuckles asked as Steve nodded. There will be no more haunting from him from now on. The gang smiled as no one then knew what to do with the head. Steve had the idea to dispose it properly, but then headed to his cemetery and formed a stake. In the game, Sonic.exe would hang his victims in the stake. Now, it was Steve's turn to hang the head of Sonic.exe on the stake. Blood poured out of his head as Steve impaled the head on the stake. Steve then laughed and said, "Rotten hell, imposter, and this time, stay dead." The end. What a creative way to lay him to rest. Place him in the same way he usually placed his victims? Well, I guess other than a few big problems, like the sentences going on for too long, this was a decent read. Well, I have nothing much else to say then. See you next time on Sonic Characters Read Sonic Fanfiction. Good night!